hotel and casino in Las Vegas for the 18th annual Romance Lovers Convention. 3 whole days of planned spontaneity and throwing caution to the wind in a moderately controlled environment. And with any luck, she'd convince Dillon to come along, and then they could extend the trip through next week. The longer she had with him there, the better her chances of getting out of the damn friend zone and returning to Colorado as his girlfriend. Or maybe even wife? She gnawed on her lower lip and started slicing mushrooms as that crazy thought took root in the back of her brain. Was it all that crazy? When she truly thought about it, they were practically married already, sex being the only thing missing, much to her dismay. And it was Vegas, land of the spontaneous weddings, so it wasn't entirely out of the realm of possibility, was it? Alyssa pressed a hand to her belly, which suddenly felt like an industrial leaf blower was stirring things into a frenzied cyclone and making one hell of a mess in there. Stop overthinking, Alyssa. All you have to do is stick to the plan. The plan was simple. Ply him with an amazing dinner and his favorite dessert. Then play upon his sympathy, convincing him she was too nervous to go to Vegas unless he went with her. And if that didn't work, she wasn't above manipulating him with a healthy dose of passive-aggressive guilt. No sweat. She just needed to get him out of their element, away from their everyday routine, to a place they could stretch the boundaries of their relationship. And what better place to do that than the best city on earth known for people taking chances and risks they normally wouldn't consider? She'd thought everything through, even taking the day off work to shop for a sexier wardrobe. Everything she owned before today fell under one of 3 C's: conservative, casual, or comfortable. But if she had to dress nightclub Barbie for a few days to get Dillon to see her as a woman and not some asexual being, then that was what she'd do. Anything to ensure success for Operation, damn, Allie's hot and I totally want to do her. Her hand clapped over her mouth and she barely prevented the fermented grapes from shooting out of her nose. That name definitely needed some work. Something to think about later. Smoothing her sleek ponytail with one hand, she drank some more wine and reveled in the warmth as it slid down her throat. She'd already decided to forego her usual 1-glass rule tonight. It's not like she had to go to work the next day. Plus, she needed the liquid courage to play this whole thing off as an impulsive idea and not her long-ago-hatched plan to date her best friend of 18 years. Dillon's Dodge Ram rumbled as he drove up their street. His aftermarket exhaust reliably alerted her of his arrival a good 3 blocks before he pulled in. Not for the first time. She ran to check her appearance in the mirror on the foyer wall. Dillon worked as a foreman at his father's Denver construction company. After wrapping things up in his commute home from the city, he arrived at their adjoined townhouses around the same time every day. And if he ever ran late or changed his plans for the evening, she could count on receiving a text. His reliability was one of her favorite things about him. The fact that it stemmed from an understanding of her need for such things made him even more endearing. Over the course of their lifelong friendship, he'd witnessed her deal with more than her fair share of instability. Her grandmother called it the Miller curse. Alyssa was the 4th generation of Miller women who were highly intelligent, only children of single mothers whose lovers never stuck around to love and cherish, much less raise their daughters. Alyssa's dad had actually been around the most out of the bunch, but it was sporadic at best and extremely damaging to her mother's psyche at worst. Alyssa had watched the strong woman become a shell of her former self, and all because she loved a man who couldn't or wouldn't love her back. Alyssa refused to end up like her mom. Dillon and she were perfect together, and they had already been in each other's lives for almost 2 decades. She would be the first Miller to have a loving, caring man, and tonight, she'd drive the first nail in that curse's coffin. The sound of his truck door banging shut made her heart leap. A second car door slamming and a woman's high-pitched voice had Alyssa peeking through her curtains. Dillon faced the dark-haired beauty he'd been seeing off and on over the last couple of months as she stalked over to the side of his truck. She was definitely not happy about something.